Hey everybody, Drew here, and today we are going to tackle rear drums on this 1999 Dodge Dakota. It is the 3.9 liter V6 four-wheel drive and has 10-inch drums. Just make sure you cross-reference everything and make sure it applies to your vehicle and your setup before you take this advice. It is not going to apply to the 9-inch drums. They're a little bit different, but this video should still be helpful. So what we're going to do is we're going to go through everything step by step together. I'm going to cut out all the trial and error and give you guys a nice simple video that takes you through this step by step. Hey guys, if I can do it, you can do it. So watch this video at least once before attempting and hang in there. All right, 10-inch Dodge Dakota and Durango brakes. First is this spring here. I'm gonna get that off of that hook. That was not easy to do. Locking vice grips, good ones, and kind of put the pressure against anything I could use to pry, because, I don't care how strong you are, it's hard to pull that spring. It's a beefy spring. Second step is gonna be this one over here, same thing. Those springs are identical, so it's going to be easy to put them back in. They're the same. Set them aside. Next is grab the auto adjuster down here, and you're going to it's tough to do with one hand, but you're gonna, let's see here, see if I can show you. See, you're gonna go up with it like that, enough to where this spring, which is locked into this tab here, right? This spring is gonna come down and out of it, which is connected to this cable, which we have to take off. This guy here just comes off, set that aside. Next we're gonna do these locking things. I have a tool for that, which should work. It looks like that one does. Most of the time when I'm doing like a Prius or a Corolla or something, which is more my bread and butter, I end up having to use pliers. But basically all those are, I'm gonna zoom way in on it. It's like a little nail with the head crushed, right? And there's a recess where it sits in. And if you could see, I'm gonna try to give you guys better light. If you could see if this little guy right here is pointing at 1 o'clock and 7 o'clock, pointing at 5 o'clock and 11 o'clock is those two dark spots. Those are the slot that it fits through. So we're gonna put this in, turn it 90 degrees, and the head should come off and the nail should come out the back. And then next, we've got this spring here, which connects on both sides. See that under there? You're gonna get that off. That one should be relatively easy. And then these guys are gonna be close to ready to coming off. All right, so that spring wasn't exactly easy trying to get it off the traditional way, but if you take the shoe, rotate it like this out of its brackets, which are here, the wheel cylinder and the bracket, as well as the thing it rides on, pull it this way down and let it kind of close, that spring will fall right out. It's important to remember now that it's out that the simple hook goes on the side without the parking brake. The complex hook goes on the side with the parking brake. You've got this guy right here that the cable rides on that just comes out. That's going to move on to your next part, which is here. Keep in mind this auto adjuster, you got to move that over, which I don't need to explain to you how to do it. It'll be self-explanatory. There's basically just a spring that rides in it and in this groove where my thumb is. But the thing is, your new one, you got one for the other side of the car. Keeping in mind this pin is on the side toward the rear of the truck. So over on the other side of the truck, of course, this would be flipped this way and toward the rear of the truck, right? It looks to me like the other shoe for the other side is flippable, right? So it's got this D-shaped hole here and a round hole here, but if you were to flip it, it works the other way, right? So that's the only difference between those two. So we're just gonna move over that auto adjuster and the gizmo for the cable to ride in here, and then everything, Lord willing, will go back together the way that it came apart. Now, I've put this spring back in here again. The complex side is on to the rear of the truck with the parking brake assembly there, and the simple side hooks in through the front. That side kind of goes down and in and then lays down like that. Try to show you. I mean, it should be pretty obvious, but see that end? So it goes in like that and then hooks over here. So what I'm going to attempt to do is put this on and get it to stay in place long enough to, kind of put this guy back in which I forgot to mention which side the adjuster is on, but that'll become obvious when you know, it's in there with the auto adjuster, which I've yet to move over. But I wanted to tell you, I took these threads, loosened them all the way up, and put a little bit of aluminum anti-seize on that. Again, being extremely careful that you never get that on any brake surfaces, but as this has to be able to screw and unscrew as the brakes adjust themselves, until this truck finally is in a junkyard, it needs to be not seized. There's a lot of stuff here that's not going to be obvious. So first of all, the threaded side of the adjuster is away from the auto adjuster, right? So here's the threads here. The parking brake little lever at the top, it actually goes, it might appear obvious that it's supposed to grab in here, but it actually goes in this little D-shaped or backwards D-shaped slot. Of course, this bar that goes across goes into the parking brake adjuster, goes in the short or the deep side of the slot in it, and then the shoe itself and the little thing the cable rides on goes inside of the outer slot. And of course over there's only one, the shoe itself goes in the one slot there. You've got the actual wheel cylinder in these slots here. There's a lot to get all in one place. I did it in the order of this shoe first, kind of held it while I put this one on, held everything together, and it kind of stayed there while I put that big spring just with some needle nose pliers, and you see the adjuster is kind of riding where it should be already. Next, we're going to tackle the big plate that's sat over this, and of course the cable, and then the spring on this side and the spring on this side. After, of course, we put these guys here back on. So those are the reverse of the way they came off. You've got the nails with the crushed head, so to speak, that go in through the back. I always put mine at 12 o'clock and 6 o'clock, and then rotate 90 degrees on the little cap thing. It's also important too, areas where the shoes are going to rub against the backing plate and stuff, to have a little bit of lubrication. Brake caliper grease. All right, so next is I put on the that diamond-shaped plate, and I put on the washer for the cable, ran it through the kind of wheel, if you will, that it rides in, and just lifted up on the edge of the auto adjuster to slide the bottom of this spring, which is like a little loop, through where it came out before. Easy peasy. Really wondering why in the 90s we were still using this when disc brakes were so simple, but drums, hey, I've got drums on all four corners of my 1950 Chevy, and they work great. What I love is that car could sit for a year, and they're not, they don't have any rust on them, so they don't pulsate after, they're 70-year-old drums, 75-year-old drums, and they still work. But this is a much more complicated design than that. So if you've made it this far and you haven't attempted the job yet, I do want you to know it is a little bit difficult, but if I could do it, you could do it. I've been very blessed to be able to do this stuff, but I wasn't born with an ASE certification and this toolbox that came by just what you guys are doing. If you're not working on cars every day and you're thinking of attempting this yourself, is I watched videos and I took the dive, and now I'm making the videos, and I hope they bless you guys. But hang in there, we're almost done. We just got to put on the spring that goes, it looks like it goes in this hole here, which explains what holds this guy on. I wondered that as I was doing it. Remember, this side came off second, so it goes on first, and then and then this side. And those are going to be really difficult. So they have this tool that you can get cheap. It's got like this little gizmo on the end of it. You put this like through the end of the spring, like poke through the end of it. This is what I mean. So I'm not sure I'm going to be able to do it on film. Oh yeah, there you go. So much easier than, it's stuck in there, we'll get it out. Much easier than they came off. These guys went on super easy. It is important to note, this one, that hook on the back just goes in the hole and you turn it and it's easy peasy. This one, you got a lot going on over here, so it takes a little bit of experimenting with what angle you want to go in at. And I was like down here, and then I rotated it up to there. So this is done. You're just gonna put on the drum and mess with the auto adjuster here to get familiar with what way opens it. You want to see this guy unscrew, and it'll push the shoes apart into the inside of the drum, which the new one's in that box. I mean, there's a little rubber nubby on the back here, which I'm not sure I can show you. Right there. Pop off that rubber guy, and you'll be able to stick a screwdriver in there, and just get familiar with what way, again, extends that out. Like, so for example, you know, if you're rotating it, I guess, from this side, counterclockwise, that means you're going to stick a screwdriver in there. See the back, if this is the back, it's going up when you're going counterclockwise. So you're going to stick a screwdriver in there and right, like that, right? If it's clockwise, the back's going down, so you're going to stick a screwdriver in there from the bottom, get on a tooth, and then pull down. And then basically what we're going to do is we're going to jack up the other wheel, of course, but we're going to rotate the drum by hand after doing that a couple times until we start to feel resistance, and then back off till we don't feel any anymore. And any fine-tuning will be done by the auto adjuster. All right, and after a test drive, everything's perfect. Was able to feel the drum. There's no heat, so nothing's dragging. Sounds right, feels right. It's a world of difference compared to the friction material being broken off the shoes, rubbing around inside there in a broken, split drum. So hey, again, if this video was helpful or entertaining, please give it a thumbs up. It helps us a lot, and go ahead and hit that subscribe button, as well as turn on notifications so you will be the first to see our new videos. Thanks, guys. God bless you.